This morning I killed the second turkey of my lifetime, and I'm not even a hunter. Yes, this is what killed the turkey. So I hauled a load of corn this morning to the elevator. I wanted to pull a load out of this bin just to make sure the quality was okay before I called someone to come in and empty the bin and take it away from here for a better price. On the way down the road this morning, I see this turkey, a hen, starting to walk across the road. I saw it on the shoulder and I thought, that thing, I think I can get to it and get by it before it gets out in the road, or it'll turn around and go the other way or fly off. It'll see me coming. Well, no, turkeys are dumb birds. So the thing continued out in the road. It wasn't until I got like 10 or 15 feet from him. I'm doing 50, 55 miles an hour. I'm not going to let up. I'm not going to stop. Cars behind me, you don't pull into the other lane. You never try to avoid an animal because it's going to cause another accident. Well, that turkey flew up. It was, I don't know, maybe in about this position here. It flew up. You can kind of see a few light scratches here in the hood, I guess from its feet, claws, whatever you want to call them. And it struck something. I thought it struck the corner of the cab and broke my light out, but that is okay. It must have struck up there on the body itself. And when I looked in my rear view mirror, all I saw was feathers going everywhere, and that bird went up in the air and it dropped somewhere behind me. The car behind me had to swerve. Well, it didn't have to swerve, but it did swerve to avoid hitting it. So, as I said, second turkey of my lifetime. First turkey was something similar. This was many years ago, maybe 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. I was in Pennsylvania going up I-83. And a turkey, it wasn't in the road. I think it was trying to fly across the road, and it smacked the windshield of my pickup truck and just broke that thing out. I had to pull over at the next exit and have that windshield replaced that day before I could go any farther with it, because it didn't knock it completely out, but it was pretty bad. So yeah, 2 turkeys in my lifetime, and I haven't eaten either one of them. I've got to go over here and turn the fan on here. When I was loading that corn, it didn't look real dry. But yet, when I crawled up and looked in the bin after I'd pulled that corn out, there was no bridging. It was flowing nicely. Nothing stuck to the side of the bin. It's right at about 15.8% moisture. So we're going to run this fan a couple of days, get that moisture down to about 15 to 15.5%. I guess the reason it hasn't spoiled, I had run this fan the first cold spell we got, was it back in December maybe? Hey, yeah, you see I got a haircut. Back in December, whenever it went down below 30 degrees, I ran the fan a couple of days to get that corn cold, ran it again in January. So I've been trying to keep the temperature of the corn equal to what it is outside, so as not to get any spoilage. Hey, something I haven't talked about. I'm sure most of you all heard about that bridge collapse in Baltimore a couple of weeks ago, the Key Bridge, the ship running into it. Well, that is affecting us as farmers and will affect us for a while. I'll try to find the link to the article in the Delmarva Farmer newspaper. I didn't realize it, but we've got a local elevator. I say local. We've got an elevator in Maryland who was loading containers, just loading sea containers with soybeans, shipping them out of that port. And if I remember this article correctly, this elevator was shipping, was it 1 million or maybe 2 million bushels a year, putting them in sea containers, storage containers, loading them on the ship and shipping them overseas, I guess. So apparently there were 100 or 150 containers on that ship that crashed into the bridge of soybeans, going overseas somewhere. There's still another couple hundred, I heard, sitting at the port ready to be shipped over there. So of course somebody's paying for that somewhere along the way, whether it's the grain elevator not getting their money because these soybeans haven't been delivered, or there's probably some port fees involved with these storage containers still sitting at the port and not being moved. But of course it's all on the upper side of the bridge, so nothing is moving. So what that means is one less market for our soybeans to go to, by the Port of Baltimore being closed down. The other problem we're having, and I just learned this today, is fertilizer, and especially liquid nitrogen. A lot of our fertilizer and liquid nitrogen comes out of the Port of Baltimore. Well, that traffic has stopped. So as far as ships bringing the fertilizer and the liquid nitrogen in, so I'm not sure what the supply is of what was already there. Trucks can go in and pick up what was there until they run out, I guess. So now we'd probably have to go up to Philadelphia, down to Norfolk for fertilizer and liquid N. I don't know. You saw on a video a couple weeks ago, I got a load of liquid N, so I'm okay there. I haven't been to my fertilizer dealer since we put the fertilizer on the wheat to see what his supply issue is now, if he's having any supply issues with fertilizer. I'm sure he has, with this port being closed down. I guess the government is working on getting it open as soon as possible. The government needs to step out of the way and just let private industry go in there, and private industry could have probably had that port open by now and had ships flowing through there. It's been too wet and cold here to get out on the fields to do any work or fertilizer spreading, so I haven't been up to the fertilizer dealer to see if there are any supply issues, but I guess they are. It just seems like here on the East Coast and in Maryland especially, we just been taking a hit in agriculture, with Purdue closing down some of their grain elevators. Purdue is not the company that they used to be. They're shipping in grain from South America, bringing in corn or soybeans from South America for their chickens on the Eastern Shore before they're buying it from Maryland farmers. I've heard that numerous times before, and they can get it cheaper that way. That doesn't make any sense to me. But what I was saying is, the ag industry here in the I guess northeast, Mid-Eastern states here, we're taking it on the chin right now with the Port of Baltimore, grain elevators. We don't have the markets. Wheat is another issue right now. A lot of the elevators are still sitting on wheat from last year, haven't moved it because the flour mills are being very picky about what they take. It's not looking good for the market for this year when we start getting in the field to harvest wheat. The elevator today that I took the corn to, he's saying maybe $1 to $1.25 under on the basis. So the basis is the difference between the Chicago Board of Trade price, what grain is traded at on a publicly traded exchange. I don't think it's called the Chicago Board of Trade anymore. Chicago Mercantile Exchange, I think is what it's called. So you take that price and then either add or subtract whatever the basis is. The basis could be a positive number or a negative number. Most of the time for us around here, it's a negative number. So if wheat, and I don't even know what wheat is trading at, but if wheat is trading at, let's say $5 on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange for July wheat, and our basis is $1 under, subtract that $1 from $5 and we're only getting paid $4 for it. So yeah, the market for wheat is not looking good, with all the wheat still around from last year, and So the basis is going to reflect that. So, man, I'm glad I don't have any new equipment payments to make, because I would be scratching my head figuring this out on how we're going to make it this year. But those guys with new equipment payments, I feel sorry for you, because it's going to be an ugly year, I think. Anyway, enough of me rambling. We've got to go fight with the dealership today over my daughter's truck. We still haven't come to a resolution on that yet. So I've got to go to the store and pick her up and go up there and see if we can come to terms with something. I almost died about 5 minutes ago. I was walking in here to the shop, walked over there to Farmer's daughter's truck. We can walk over here and see what's going on. Anyhow, I walked over there to pick up something. I came back and I looked down, and there was a snake right there, right there. You can't see it now, but I must have stepped right over that thing and did not see it when I walked in initially, because I was on the phone with my daughter at the time. It was a copperhead. Now, it was just a little baby snake, but they're still just as deadly as a big snake. I brought it out here. Right there, that thing. So yeah, it was only about 6 or 8 inches long, but man, it scared the crap out of me. I hate snakes with a passion. Whoa. Almost had the big one. So what was I saying? Oh, let's go back in here and look at Farmer's daughter's truck. I'm going to watch where I'm stepping now, because, you know, where there's one snake, especially a baby copperhead like that, there's going to be more than one. Okay. So yeah, I was on the phone with my daughter when I saw it. So I sent her a picture to her. She says, I'm bringing mothballs home when I come home this evening. Okay, so here's what she's got happening with her truck. So she's cut, these were the metal pieces of angle iron we had on the original bed that was on the other truck. So she's cut them to the length she wants now, has bolted them on, and she's got some tie downs here that she has bolted on there as well. I think she has got a plan. I see she's added a couple pieces of 2x4 back here. I'm not sure if she's having something made to go back here to put her lights in. That was one of her thoughts. Looks like she got lights here. Yes, she does have her lights here. What is she going with? Okay, so she's got the round lights to go in there. Looks like she's got her fuel filler neck. That looks like it's just a bunch of junk in there now. Oh yeah, I think she does have a battery for it as well. Yes, she's got a battery in there too. So I think they got the oil pan gasket changed. I went and got a insurance quote for her last week. She was concerned about how much it was going to cost her for insurance. She's just going to put historic tags on here. This truck isn't going to go too far. So I went into our insurance agent and started describing the truck to them. This is a 350, and they couldn't find it in their system as far as, you know, trying to figure out what model it was to insure it. Finally, they asked, is it a commercial? I said, well, I guess it could be considered commercial because we think there was a utility body on this originally, that it probably came from the factory as just a straight frame truck with a cab on it, and then it was a utility body at some point after that, after it was new. So I said, yeah, it should be commercial. So then when they started typing in all those numbers and asking me questions, I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be pretty with commercial insurance for how old is she? She's 23 now. Oh my God, $16 a month is all it is. They said the historic tags don't mean anything to them. They're going to ask you how far you drive it in a year, or how many miles you plan on driving it in a year. And I told them it would probably be used just around the farm here, maybe hauling a little bit of stuff around the farm. So that helped out a little bit. Farm use, commercial farm use, if that's a thing. So yeah, only $16 a month. My daughter was quite surprised over that. So she's just about got it ready to get the tags and insure it and get it out on the road. Okay, let me head up to the hardware store, go pick up my daughter so we can go argue with sales people at a car dealership. Oh boy.